Hello everyone, my name is Hugo and welcome back to my channel. I want to do another tag because I think they're fun to do. So today we're going to do the reading tastes tag. I saw a video by Current Chapter and I really enjoyed it. It was the first time I saw the tag. I didn't know about this one, but I really enjoyed the question. It was pretty interesting. So I decided to do it too. The first question is, what's your favorite genre? My favorite genre? I don't know. Horror? My favorite genre is horror. Yes, horror. Because of Stephen King. I don't think every novel isn't horror, obviously. But I think it's horror. It's the one that makes me... Horror is a genre that makes me turn pages the quickest. You know what I mean? It's the genre that makes me want to keep reading the most. Yeah, so that's why. Second question, most difficult genre to read. So there are a couple of different options to interpret this question. I'm gonna answer the question as most difficult genre to read of the genres that you read anyway. Because otherwise, yeah, obviously if there's a genre like self-help books, for example, I don't read any of those. Yeah, those would be difficult for me to read because I don't enjoy them. But from the genres that I do read, I think it's classic literature, which I hope will change sometime. But I want to read all those novels like Dickens or Mark Twain, authors like that, Hemingway. I want to read them in English, but the language is a bit old or a bit difficult, so it's hard for me to get through. So I think classic literature. Third question is what's your preferred age range? For me, it's definitely adults. I think young adults is fine, I guess. I just don't enjoy it that much. Sometimes it has a good story, but then there's like this urge to somehow connect two characters into some kind of romance, which wasn't really necessary, and it just like forced a bit. I had the same problem actually with Final Empire by Brand Sanderson. Everything about that book I completely loved, but there was a forced romance between two characters. I won't spoil it, but yeah, I was like, that wasn't necessary. So yeah, I think, what was the question? Oh yeah, preferred age range. I think just adult. Oh, also children books. I love children. I love rereading Winnie the Pooh, for example. For some reason, I enjoy children books too. But preferred age range is adult, definitely. Fourth question is, what do you prefer most, character or plot driven? I think you can't have one without the other. I think both are equally important. Sometimes you have a great plot, but if you have shallow characters, it's not that enjoyable. Sometimes you have really good characters, but then there's no interesting plot, and then you're also not interested in reading the book or finishing it because there's no actual good story there. So I think both are equally as important. However, if I had to choose one, I would think character driven, because if you think about it, when you think about your favorite books, do you think about the story and what happened first, or do you think about certain characters that you absolutely love? For me, at least, it's about characters. Stephen King, that's why I love Stephen King so much, I think, because he's very character focused and he puts a lot of effort into characters, and sometimes the plot is a bit slower in the middle most of the times. That's because he's really focusing on developing his characters. So when I think back on any book, first thing I think about is, oh yeah, this character and this character and all that stuff. So I think if I had to choose character, but again, you can't have one without the other, in my opinion. Fifth question, what's your preferred perspective? I don't have a preferred perspective. I don't care. I don't even remember, except for The Martian is a good example where it was really clear that it was first person. I really enjoy that. But third person is fine for me too. First person is fine for me too. I don't care.
I don't care.
Sixth question, I have the same answer to. Preferred tense, I don't care. I don't even notice it half the time. It's not something I think back on, oh, that should have been past tense, or oh, that should have been present. Nah. If it's written well, it's fine by me. So just write it good and then I'll enjoy it, I guess. Lucky number 7th question. What was the question? Lucky number 7th question. Do you prefer series or standalones? I think standalones, because I like having closure with something. I would not be able to read a series that's just started. So if you're like interested in a book but you see the first one just came out and the next one is gonna be here in a year, and then the closure, the third one, if it's a trilogy, sometimes even longer, it's gonna be in 3 years, for example. I couldn't begin that first one, end on a cliffhanger, and then have to wait a whole year or more to continue the story. So I think I prefer standalones. However, sometimes a good series is just like Mistborn trilogy. I haven't actually read the second one yet, but it's on my TBR. I want to finish the series this year. Like Mistborn, for example, it's something that you could have finished it with just the first one, but it's a world that you want to explore more. So in that case, a series is a lot more fun to read. So I get why people prefer like 10-book series and they want to immerse in a world. You do that less, like connect with a world when it's just a standalone book. Then standalone is obviously a lot more plot driven, and if you read a series of 10 books and you finish it, of course you're gonna connect to the characters or to the world or even the plot a lot more than something from just a standalone book, because the standalone was 500 pages and you really enjoyed it. The other one was 5,000 pages or more and you really enjoyed that one as well. But it was 5,000 pages. You enjoyed 5,000 pages instead of 500. So I get why people prefer series, but I just like closure and just wrapping things up. Not that I want to get rid of it quickly. I'm rambling. Just I think standalones, I enjoy them. So that's my answer. 8th question, longer or short novels? Depends on the story. Sometimes a book can feel like it's getting dragged on and that it could have been 200 or 300 pages less than it was. So in that case, obviously I'd like a shorter novel. But sometimes it's the opposite, and a book, it's like you're really into the story and all of a sudden you're thinking like, hey, I only have 20 pages to go. How the hell are they gonna wrap this up? And then they just like, and done. They're done. It's a wrap up in like 20 pages, and you think like, damn, why did you do that? Could have been 200 pages more, and I don't know if it's lazy writing at that moment or it was really intended to be like that. Good example is Kafka on the Shore by Haruki Murakami. I really enjoyed that book, but I really enjoyed that book, right? But the middle was a bit slow and the ending was very abrupt. So I think if you rearranged things in the middle to the ending more, it would have been much better. But I left that book with a feeling, where are the next 100 or 200 pages? Because okay, I have an ending, but it could have been more stretched out, I guess. So yeah, it really depends on the book, but sometimes a book feels really long, and yeah, that's not necessary, but sometimes it feels too short, so depends on the book. Ninth question, what's your preferred format? Obviously, well, not obviously, my preferred format is physical, although I do have like a Kindle Paperwhite. I mostly have this because a lot of the classics are like for free or 1 or 2 euros. So sometimes I want to see if I would enjoy the book and then buy a pretty version when I actually know it. But I don't want to buy an expensive version of a book that I might never read. So that's mostly why I use this one. But I connect to a book less when I read it on ebook format. So then in physical, what's my preferred format there? I think actually to read it's paperback or mass market paperback. I don't really care. Maybe even more mass market because I can like butcher it a bit, and I wouldn't care. But for me there are 3 types of books to read. I have like a pretty hardcover with the sleeve, and when I read it I would take this one off, and it feels good to read. I like it. I like hardcovers, and they're obviously gorgeous to put on your shelf. So that's why I love hardbacks. And most of the time you have the choice and the price range is almost the same. I would go for the hardcover because they're pretty. And then you have pretty paperbacks, which I would be careful with too. This 1 second after. Because, look, I think I'm sorry. I think it's a pretty cover. So I would really like this, right? This, I don't mind it that bit, but I wouldn't push it. So I like to read that one as well. But my preferred way to read are books like this, or mass market. I would treat them the same. This one, The Count of Monte Cristo, which I haven't read, but is high on my list. It's my top priority of classics, but it's just so fucking long, man.
That's what she said.
Michael!
So big.
Michael, please. Please.
And what was I saying? Oh yeah, I like this version because it was like 2 euros on Amazon, brand new. So I would read this and just be like this, and I would leave it somewhere and not worry too much about it because it was only $2 and it's very, what's it called, floppy too, so you can actually do it without damaging it too. So that's why I would read, but the cover is not that nice. So for my shelf, hardcovers and pretty paperbacks. To read, this one, maybe on the go on a Kindle, but I wouldn't mind bringing a book with me. Yeah, but this one again, it just goes right in my pocket of my coat, so again, that's very handy. Yeah, I mean, I enjoy all of them. I don't like audiobooks. Actually, I can't focus. I don't know why. Sometimes I put one up when I go to sleep and I just fall asleep to it, but then I don't know how the story ended. Mostly I do short stories then. But a full-fledged novel in audiobook, no, I couldn't listen to it. I could listen to it when I'm reading alone, but when I'm only listening to it while doing something else, like a lot of people do, I wouldn't remember a single thing they are saying. So I don't really listen to audiobooks ever. And 10th question, what am I currently reading? I'm currently reading Leviathan Wakes. Do I have that laying around? I'm currently reading Leviathan Wakes by James S.A. Corey, which is a space opera. And I'm also reading, I think I left my copy downstairs, The Tale of Piglet by Benjamin Hoff, which is non-fiction, Taoist philosophical book or something like that. And those were all the questions. So that was my tag. So if you're watching this and you thought it was a cool tag, feel free to do the tag as well. And without further ado, that was the video, I think. Do I have anything else to say? I don't think so. I hope you enjoyed, I think. and I will see you next time. Bye bye, guys.